Good afternoon, everybody. It's Nolan from Trade and Train. It's 12th of February 2021. Coming up to about 20 to 4 in the afternoon here in the UK. We hope you've had a good week. And let's have a little look at what's been going on today and perhaps what we expect to see next week. Okay, start off with the dollar index. We can see the dollar index in this falling wedge pattern, descending wedge. The bigger momentum is to the downside, but currently we are correcting, and you can see that here. In the correction, we mean price movement against the general trend. Okay, so the general trend is to the downside. We've got this daily move to the upside, this daily uptrend, and that's a correction of this bigger move. So how do we know that? Well, we can see it making higher highs, higher lows, like so. And this potentially here, this little bit here, is potentially the next higher low. Okay, so we have an uptrend going on. And we can actually see here, actually, price came down into this level a few days ago. We saw buyers come in because of this low wick. Then we saw an inside candle actually showing us that that momentum had really slowed down. And then today we'd started to see buyers come in again. There's actually a channel as well. Let me draw that in for you. Okay, we've got support there, support. So we've come into that area, look, and we've almost, what I would say, double bottomed. We've tested that trend line twice, and now we've started to see upside. We also have this here as well. So we've got an expanding channel going on within this corrective move to the upside. So where could this go? Well, there's a few different options actually. There's different arguments really for this. So is this going to continue to the upside and make a new high? And if it does, I would suspect 92 would be a target. And when I say continue with the trend, you know, I mean this kind of up move, down, up, move, down, and then up. And then we see what happens. Okay, could do that. We could see something like this. Whoops. Where this is actually what I would call a head and shoulders pattern. Okay, and then we continue to the downside in line with the bigger move. So there's a number of different things it could actually do. The first kind of point of interest for me personally is around, and I'll draw it in, if you just look, you've got these highs here, you've got this high there as well. You can see this area here was resistance and this was support. So if I just draw that in, for me, I'd like to see, or I would expect to see price come into this zone, and then we're going to see what's happened. We may reject like we did here, and then push up, retest, and go. So I see this zone here as kind of a first target, if you like, and then we'll have to monitor price action to see what's going to happen next. So if we are going to see some dollar strength, that means we should be looking for a little weakness or some weakness on Euro USD. And you can actually see here, I've already drawn this in. I see these lows here where we found support. So this is kind of a first target for me, around about 120.60, a first target for me. And then, you know, do we bounce and start making higher highs again, or do we actually break through this level, which we can look for a retest and look for further moves south? So right at this moment in time, while I'm filming this, Price is having a little pullback to the upside. Let me just put some EMAs into this. And as you can see, when you've got the EMAs in, this is the 80 EMA and the 20 EMA, it looks like it's just pulling into that 80 EMA, and we could see sellers come in again now. It's a nice area. Little bit of support there as well, if you can see that there. So we're actually coming back to retest it. It's Friday though, it's Friday afternoon. We get some crazy moves sometimes on Fridays, you know, as the market closes for the week. And then we see things go back to normal on Monday. So we'll see what happens with this. You got the London session, you know, London traders going home shortly, maybe even started going home early as it's a Friday. So we'll see. So I'm looking for Euro short, certainly into 120.60, and then we'll see what happens after that. Be monitoring price. Pound USD is an interesting one. Okay, this is the daily chart with the 8 EMA and the 20 in blue. Price oscillates around these EMAs very nicely. Okay, so we were looking at this candle here a few days ago being what's called overextended from the moving averages, and then we saw this candle here, which is basically sellers coming in. So we're expecting price to pull back into the EMAs. Now, first target for me personally was this 8 EMA. So that's kind of job done. But there is potential here. It's looking bullish at the moment. Let's just have another look at the smaller time frames. It's looking a little bit bullish at the moment, but I still think there is room for this to go down a little bit further. Now, might need to wait till Monday, Tuesday next week now. But look at the most recent price action. Yeah, it comes into that 8 EMA a number of times. Here, bounces. Here, it actually then penetrates that 8 EMA and comes into the 20. Here, comes into the 20 again. You know, here comes into the 20. Here, it tests the 8 EMA on several occasions, eventually coming to test the 20 EMA. This is just one test of the 8 EMA. So looking at the most recent price action and what it's done, I would assume that price would come back down into this zone. And potentially, you know, we've got resistance there, pull that across, and you could see that there, a pullback into that zone. Let me just make that a different color so it's easy for you to see. And by that time, you know, that 20 EMA could be in that zone then. So 137.50 would be a nice area as well to sell into. And then I'd have my, you know, my eyes open a little bit then to see if buyers come in. Maybe, you know, for the next move to the upside. Maybe. Okay, so I'll be looking for sellers to come in. May not be today, maybe Monday. And look on the smaller time frame. And 137.50 might be a nice area for you to target. One more chart I want to look at is gold. We got a lot of requests to look at gold. There are a lot of gold traders out there. I'm going to go to the monthly actually, first of all. Let me just delete that. Monthly, and zoom out a little bit. So we made an all-time high on gold back in August 2020. A lot of people thought that price would never really test or break these highs here, which were back in 2011, but we did. So, you know, what is happening here? Is this a correction and we're going to see even more upside? Or is this something very similar to what happened here in 2011, where we see, you know, a bit of ups and downs, and then we start to see price sell off again? Well, obviously, I don't know that, and probably none of you guys know either. If anybody does know, let me know. I do notice, look, when we look at this here, there was some support until we eventually had a monthly close below. So we're kind of bouncing off this level. Now, just notice where we are now, and you can just see this zone here acting as support. So potentially, if we're going to see something similar to that, we could see price come back down and test this level. Let me take the EMAs off, go into a daily time frame. Yeah, so these are the lows here, around about 1775, 1770. And let me just put my EMAs back on again. My EMAs are actually in the correct order for a downtrend, and we can see price kind of cycling in and out of the EMAs. We've pushed down, didn't quite come into this low. We've come back up into the EMAs, and look, we've got here what's called an evening star pattern, which is a reversal pattern. And we would look for this at resistance. Now, resistance can be horizontal resistance, it could be trend line resistance, but it can also be the moving averages or the EMAs, and that's exactly what's happened here. So from this candlestick pattern, I would presume that gold is now going to make moves to the downside, coming back into these lows here where it may bounce again. So next week, I would expect price to make some downside moves back into this 1780, 1770 level. When you look at the smaller time frames, you can actually see where price here was trending to the upside, and I'll draw a little trend line in so you can see that. We've broken the trend now. Okay, we've broken the trend. We've had this push down. EMAs are in the correct order. Seeing a little bit of buying at the moment. Now, I would, if price came back into this level here, which was acting as support, if price does, then that would be a lovely area for sellers to come back in again and look for that trade. Don't know whether it will come back into about 1835. Yeah, 1834, 1835. If it does, might be worth just looking for that evening star pattern, maybe, where those buyers turn into sellers. So I do expect to see gold shorts, but we need to see the price action. Yep, we're seeing buying at the moment. Maybe something's happened in the market. I don't know. This could be gold is a bit of a funny asset to trade. It can be very volatile at times. You know, for instance, we saw this big move to the upside here. Next hour, we saw downside, and this actually led to this downside move. So just because this is a big bullish candle doesn't mean that we're going to see upside. Okay. So gold potentially shorts into this zone here. Euro. Let's go back to euro. Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit of temporary dollar weakness, maybe. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, USD is pulling back a little bit. Still see this zone here as the next port of call. So euro, I see it coming down into this zone here as a first target. Around about 120.60, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Pound, or cable, I should say, back into this zone here, 137.50. Gold, back into these lows here, anywhere between, maybe a bit lower than that actually, anywhere between 1770, 1780. That's what I'm looking for. But with any trading, I need to see the price action. Obviously we have our biases, but unless we see the price action, then we can't take the trade. So that's the way trading is. So keep your eyes open for that. If you've got any particular pairs, or there's something you want us to drop into our next YouTube video to analyze for you, drop us a line, drop us a comment in the comments section, and we will do that for you when we drop our next video on YouTube next week. But from me, Nolan, and the Trade and Train team, have a great weekend, and we will see you again next week. Bye for now.